You're watching a segment of The Splash, Greater West Bloomfield's news magazine show.
Welcome back. We are joined by Helen, Jane Peters, and Tina Herzberg from the Sylvan Lake Garden Club. And thank you, ladies, for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
So the Sylvan Lake Garden Club, tell me what that is.
It's a community group where we get together, do some maintenance in the Memorial Park. We share our knowledge of gardening, love of nature, plantings, what else?
Trees.
Right.
We are a tree community. So
yeah,
trees
Sylvan means trees.
Okay.
So we want to keep as many trees growing and healthy as possible.
And Sylvan Lake is known as the prettiest little city in Michigan.
That's
so
true.
I guess the Garden Club is contributing to that. The Garden Club goes back many years. You guys are going into your 80th year.
That's right.
So tell me a little bit about how it began.
Well, it started in 1939, and there were 8 ladies that came to the first meeting, and then by the end of that year, they had 40 members, and all ladies from Sylvan Lake. And it was started by Mrs. Jo James, who was a magnificent lady. She grew up in a family where both of her parents were gardeners, and then her second husband owned a flower shop and a garden. So that was the love of her life. But she also loved birds, and she loved kids, and she did a lot in the community. And she lived to be 102.
Wow.
Yes, she was amazing.
So the Garden Club is going into its 80th year.
Yes.
But your mother
Yes.
was a member of the Garden Club, correct?
Yes, she was in the 40s.
So
1940s.
we'll go back to this mysterious book that's sitting here in a minute.
Okay.
But there's a lot of history and a lot of the Garden Club that, I mean, you guys do an ice cream social.
Yes.
So tell me, that's kind of like one of your landmark events, right?
That is. That's every year in August, we host the community for our annual ice cream social, where it's a gathering of all of the neighbors. We have an assortment of cakes where everybody comes for $1.50. You get a plate with a slice of cake or cookies or cupcakes
pie.
or whatever the treats are, and a scoop of ice cream. And it's a social event to come mingle with your neighbors. There's
And
a lot
it's
of
open to everyone?
the whole
yes.
community. Yep.
Okay.
So it's not just the Garden Club. It's to keep everybody neighborly.
So how long has that been going on, the ice cream social?
Since 1965.
So a long-standing tradition.
Oh,
We
yes.
have quite a
Yes.
bit of
Yes.
long-standing
Right, over
going
50
on.
years.
So long-standing tradition, and how long you're the president of the Garden Club?
I'm the president of the Garden Club.
Okay,
Yep.
so how long have you been involved?
Probably about 5 or 6 years, maybe 7. I lose track.
Right? And Helen, Jane, you've been involved for how long? And you're the
About
secretary.
the same length of time, I think.
Yeah.
I'm the secretary,
Secretary. Okay. So you two work together and kind of come up. You not only support Sylvan Lake, but you do other things that help. You mentioned Shop with a Cop this past year, right?
There's events that go on throughout the community. We participate in the Memorial Day Parade. One of our members puts together a live wreath for memorializing our veterans. And the ice cream social, we have a plant exchange in June. And in the fall, we've teamed up with Keego Harbor, and they do a garden club or a plant exchange. Their garden club puts on a plant exchange. So we've got 2 kind of plant exchanges going throughout the year.
So September and June, you said? Mm-hmm. Okay, so the plant exchange, the ice cream social. You mentioned Memorial Day, and that brings to mind Memorial Park. Mm-hmm. That's kind of your baby, isn't it?
Right.
So tell me about that.
Well, it was designed by a Michigan State student about 25 or 30 years ago. And so I would say within the last 5 or 6 years, the Garden Club has taken it on as one of our projects. So we go once a month, usually on a Wednesday or Thursday morning, and work for 2 hours. We weed and we trim and we plant new flowers and make it beautiful. And we spread mulch on the path, and we make it look beautiful. So we invite the community, and we usually have 5 or 6 workers. And we now have some men in the group. So
Right, because that wasn't always the case.
no, it wasn't.
Yeah, so tell me when that changed.
Well, Jim Endress, who you know here at Civic Center TV, was the first man to join the Garden Club. And Tina reminded me this morning that he built like a stage for photos at the ice cream social.
At our 50th ice cream social.
So people could stand behind it and have their family picture taken.
Oh, how neat.
You know, like a little photo prop.
Right, like a photo booth, but
Yeah.
just with a backdrop.
Yes.
Very nice.
And
So
then he also he built a little library that we have in Ferndale Park. And he also built this desk. So
Exactly.
But he was a man that would, if you ask him something, he would say yes before you finish the sentence. He just loved to help, and he was a great contributor.
And the first man for the Garden Club.
That's
Now
right.
we have 5.
Now there's 5, but
Yes.
it is open.
Oh,
Right?
it's open
so
for
if
men,
any man is
men
like,
and women.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
What about kids? Are there any kids involved? I mean, kids love digging in the dirt and all of that. Tell me how that
We've got
works.
not really members, but
Right.
we've had a few participating in our
Token kids.
in our work days in
Right.
the Memorial Park.
Right, because
Yeah.
I would think that it would kind of be a family opportunity, right, to get together and do some work for the community and participate. And
I
then
would say
go
a lot of
home
the
feeling good.
kids do appreciate the ice cream social.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh, yes,
I might
yes.
come to that ice cream social.
Yes. Well, then back in the 60s, Mrs. Gavette did have a club just for the children. They planted a seed, and then they would watch it grow, and then they were awarded prizes.
Oh, okay.
So
there was a kids' garden club to
Right.
some degree, right?
That's right.
So going back to the history, and we said that this book was you began in 1939, correct?
That's right.
Okay, so this book is filled with clippings and pictures.
Yes.
Is
Garden
it all,
Club scrapbook.
Yeah?
Yes.
And it's all the way up to this year, or 2018?
No, I'm really not sure how far it goes, but we have started new scrapbooks with current pictures. But this is the one that goes back to
Right.
39.
And then this on top is the Sylvan Garden Club's book of tested recipes.
Yes.
From 1944. So your mom's recipes are in this.
That's right. There's 2
So
recipes
there's
in
2
there.
recipes. So just to take a look at the history, Spanish
Right at-
rice.
Yes, Spanish rice right at the top. That was a good family meal.
What was your mom's name?
Mrs. James A. Spark.
Okay.
And the ladies back then just went by their father's or their husband's name. It was a lot of, in our old books, we don't have the first names at all.
Really?
Yes.
So they're
Isn't that
just
fun?
identified by their last name,
Yes.
which was their husband.
Well, and
Or-
his first name even was
Oh.
in our little booklets.
So we
Oh,
know
yes.
that-
It says Mrs. Earl Knapp, Mrs. C.I. Humphreys, and then Mrs. J.A. Spark.
Uh-huh.
So that would be your mom.
Right.
With her Spanish rice recipe.
Right.
So a lot of history involved in the Garden Club. Just tell me what it means to you to be a part of this.
Well, it's kind of a legacy for me, I guess, because of my mother being in the garden club. And I was really never a gardener growing up. You know, I helped, I'm sure I mowed the lawn at times, but we didn't. My mother was a wonderful gardener. She loved to play in the dirt, as we would say.
Did you have vegetables and things growing in your yard?
No, we
just
didn't.
flowers. Yeah.
Just flowers.
Just flowers. So it's a legacy to you. How about you, Tina?
It's a way of getting to know the neighbors for me, being involved in some of the other parts of the community since I've moved here. I've really gotten to know more of the neighbors.
So when are your meetings?
They're Friday afternoon, usually at 1 o'clock at the community center.
Once a month, usually the third Friday.
Okay, so third Friday, 1 o'clock.
Yes.
And when is your next event coming up?
The ice cream social in August and plant exchange in June. What else?
And
do we have?
September.
And September.
Okay, so we've got a lot of events to look forward to
Oh,
because
yes.
as we speak, you know, there's a lot of nasty weather swirling around us since we're in
Yes.
the middle of January, almost the end of January, actually.
yeah.
So, well, listen, ladies, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure, and the history and legacy of the Sylvan Lake Garden Club has really been a treat to learn about. So thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very
appreciate
much.
it.
Yes.
And we've been joined by Helen Jane Peters and Tina Herzberg from the Sylvan Lake Garden Club.
Thanks for watching a segment of The Splash. To catch the entire show or other segments, watch us on Comcast Channel 15 or AT&T Channel 99, or look us up online at thesplash.tv and listen to us on WBLD 89.3, the all-new Lakes FM.